Ohayo gozaimasu, konnichiwa, konbanwa, hi, hello, and welcome to my channel. So, I am guessing that you've already seen the thumbnail and title, so you already know what you're in for. Let's start. Cowabunga. I decided that instead of having to stress with having to draw one drawing for every single day throughout October, I decided that I could do one drawing per week and use 7 prompt words for one drawing and do that for each week. I did have 3 prompt words left when I was done, so I just took those and used them into one more drawing. So the first 7 words on the list is coffin, witch town, Draxum, poison, ghost, Leonardo, and candies, which I misread as candles. I pretty much quickly knew I wanted Leo to sit on the coffin, cause he just gives me that snazzy pose vibe. I came up with the idea to combine ghost and Draxum, so I drew him as one. I first tried to have a witch town as a background, but quickly realized I found that too difficult, so I instead made it into the print on Leo's shirt. And since I misread candies as candles, I drew a candle on the coffin as light source. And since I still had to use the word poison, I decided to have Leo pour some on the coffin. I also did some eyes from inside the coffin to add the scary effect. And when I realized my word mishap, I just quickly added some candies from Ivy's Paint's Halloween stickers. Also, I thought it looked too empty with Leo's other hand doing nothing, so I drew him holding his katana. Then for my second drawing, I had to use the prompts doll, cemetery, Mikey, vampire, villain, costumes, wrath. So I immediately knew I was gonna use cemetery as background, and for villain, I decided to draw the Shredder's head. For costumes, I thought I could use that prompt as making doll and vampire into costumes. So then I just had to decide who of Raph and Mikey was gonna be what. And I ultimately decided to make Raph be a vampire and Mikey a doll. More specifically a cracked doll with ball joints. And I know that Shredhead's helmet doesn't technically just come off, and he had a whole transformation into a human after the final battle, but I chose to draw it like this just to get the point of a villain across. Next 7 prompts are crossover, zombie, clown, Donnie, skull, pumpkin, and bat. So I originally wanted to draw him in a kind of mad scientist way, but decided to go after clown and zombie. I mixed the two, making them into a crossover, and made Donnie a zombie clown. When I came up with that idea, I quickly came up with another idea to have him hold the pumpkin, and decided to include the bat as a design on the pumpkin instead of drawing April's baseball bat, which I first thought of. My first idea for the skull was to have a skull hanging on a rope or a chain around his waist like a belt, but as I was drawing the sketch, I liked the idea of having a skull motif in blood on his shell more. I also found that to be more creative. Now the prompts I had to follow were Ghostbusters, Werewolf, April, Circus, Future, Nightmare, and Big Mama. When I read this list, I basically immediately knew I wanted to draw a werewolf towering over April, who's both a Ghostbuster and cosplaying as Big Mama. I had planned to draw Ghostbuster's backpack on her, but when I searched up the backpack, I got to know how many details that would be, so I decided to draw the little box instead. And I could just use Circus as the background. I found Future to be kind of automatically in my drawing, since I only draw a future and slightly older version of the Rise characters. So now I just had to come up with a way to include Nightmare, and decided to be lazy and just name the werewolf Nightmare. Also, while I was drawing this, I watched the first video in Simon Colby's Hellmouth. And for the last drawing, I had to use the prompts ritual, blood, and trick-or-treating. My first idea was to just draw the entire group in their costumes going trick-or-treating with blood splashing out of the candy buckets. But in the end I decided to draw what you're watching instead. And well, when I searched up ritual, I noticed that trick-or-treating is technically considered a type of ritual. And to be honest, I actually forgot about the trick-or-treating part when I did this sketch, and I realized my mistake towards the end of the drawing process. So my first idea for it was to add Splinter's hand holding a bucket. But I didn't like how it looked, so I just made it into a Halloween police tape prop with the text saying trick or treat. Also, while I was shading April and Raph for this, I rewatched Simon Colby's Hellmouth video because I liked it so much. And that is all the drawings for my Risetober 2025. I hope you like this video, and I hope you like the drawings. Maybe you can comment down below which drawing you like the most, maybe why, and you could tell me if you've also done any type of October drawing challenges, either Risetober like me or some other, maybe Inktober, Goretober, Kingtober, whatever you want to do, or if you are maybe planning to do it next year. I'm most likely gonna do Risetober 2026. And that was all for today. Thank you for watching, and I wish you a good morning, day, evening, night, whenever, wherever you are watching this. Wish you the best. Hot soup.